Today, we are going to present a study about the use of digital technology in early childhood education, especially how young children and teachers engage with it in learning and play. As we know, digital technology has become an important part of children's everyday lives. However, its role in early childhood education is still widely discussed and sometimes debated. Before we begin, let me introduce our team. My name is Zahra Kartika Puspaningrum with Trilas ID number 057.
My name is Arkan Abiyyu. My last ID is 165.
Hello, my name is Talitha Lathifah N and my last ID number is 211.
Now, I will start with the introduction by explaining why this topic is important for the researcher. Today, digital technology is already a natural part of children's daily lives. Young children interact with devices like tablets, smartphones, and digital media from an early age. Because of this, their ways of playing, learning, and socializing are changing. That is why it becomes important to understand how technology influences early childhood development. However, there is a gap between children's experiences at home and in educational settings. At home, children often use technology freely and actively, but in early childhood education settings, technology is sometimes limited or used in different ways. This creates a disconnect, where children's real experiences are not fully supported in the classroom. In addition, there are still debates among educators. Some believe that digital technology may disturb traditional play-based learning, while others see it as a valuable tool. Because of this tension, teachers may feel unsure about how to use technology effectively. Therefore, research is needed to provide clear guidance for integrating technology into early childhood education.
Now, I will explain about research aim. The main aim of this study is to identify key perspectives on how young children and teachers engage together with digital technology in early childhood education. In simple terms, the researcher wants to understand what patterns appear when children and teachers use technology collaboratively. The study is guided by one main question: what are the main perspectives found in research about children and teachers interacting with digital technology in early childhood education? Now, even though there is no explicit hypothesis, the study implicitly assumes that this interaction is complex and multidimensional, not just about using tools, but also about pedagogy, beliefs, and learning process. Why is this important? Because previous research often focused only on children or only on technology. This study fills the gap by emphasizing collaboration between children and teachers, which is actually the core of learning in early childhood education. In terms of contribution, this study offers a clearer conceptual understanding of digital technology in early childhood education, identification of 5 key perspectives, and insights for improving teaching practice and curriculum. However, critically, the findings are mostly theoretical, so they still need to be tested in real classroom settings. Next is methodology. The study uses a configurative literature review, which means it does not collect new data, but instead analyzes and synthesizes previous research to find patterns and new insights. The data were collected through a systematic search in major academic databases like ERIC, Scopus, and Web of Science using specific keywords. To keep the study focused, the researcher applied clear inclusion criteria such as studies must involve children aged 0 until 6 years and teachers, must focus on digital technology and early childhood education, must be peer-reviewed articles. From 199 initial studies, only 35 were selected after careful screening. The studies become the participants of the research. meaning the analysis focus on how children-teacher interaction with technology are described across studies. For analysis, the researcher uses inductive thematic analysis, where themes are developed directly from the data. This leads to 5 main perspectives.
Now I will explain the key findings of this study. This article shows 5 main ideas about how children and teachers use digital technology together in early childhood education. First, digital play is real play. Children today combine digital tools with traditional play. They don't separate them. For example, children can record their play using a tablet, then watch it again. This helps them to remember, reflect, and recreate their play. So, digital technology supports creativity and imagination for children. The third finding is teachers' knowledge and beliefs are very important. Some teachers are not confident in using technology because they lack training. Some also think technology can have negative effects. Because of this, they may limit its use in the classroom. However, with proper training and experience, teachers can use technology more effectively. Children can learn with and from technology. They can use technology to support learning, such as reading, math, or exploring their environment. For example, children can use digital microscopes or cameras to observe nature. However, the result depends on how teachers guide the learning process. The last finding is about children can be creators. They don't just use technology, but also create things. For example, they can make videos, stories, or simple animation. This helps develop their creativity and communication skills. After understanding these findings, we can now look at the conclusions of the study. In conclusion, this study is a literature review that analyzes how children and teachers use digital technology together in early childhood education. The researcher reviewed around 35 articles published between 2010 and 2020. From this analysis, 5 main findings were identified. Overall, the study shows that digital technology has an important role in children's learning and play. However, its effectiveness depends on how teachers use and guide it. Therefore, teachers need proper training, support, and understanding. The study also suggests that digital technology should be clearly included in early childhood curriculum and teacher education. In my opinion, this article is very relevant for today's education, especially because digital technology is already part of children's daily life. I agree that technology can support children's creativity, exploration, and engagement in learning. However, I also think that technology is not always used in the best way in the classroom. Sometimes it is only used as a tool without clear learning goals, or even limited because of teachers' concerns. This shows that the main issue is not the technology itself, but how it is used by teachers. I believe teachers need not only technical skills, but also a clear understanding of how to integrate technology into meaningful learning activities. So, instead of avoiding technology, teachers should be more open to learning and adapting to children's digital experiences. Overall, this article helps me realize that technology should be used as a support for learning and play, not as a replacement.
Alright, I think that's all from our presentation today. We sincerely apologize if there are any mistakes in our words or pronunciation. And lastly, Thank you so much for your attention.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one. One is the loneliest number that you'll